Imagine a generation with the power to either save our hyper-connected world or be completely consumed by it. This chapter introduces Generation Alpha. These are the first humans born entirely in the age of iPads and artificial intelligence, AI. Their lives are already very different from anyone who came before them. Why did researchers had to restart the alphabet to name them? A social researcher named Mark McCrindle first used the term Generation Alpha in a report around 2008. He had already used all the letters of the Latin alphabet for older groups, like Generation Z. So he chose Alpha, the first letter of the Greek alphabet. This was a symbolic restart, showing that something truly new was beginning. Generation Alpha includes people born between 2010 and 2025. The oldest members are now teenagers, and the youngest are just being born. We explore the profound shift from their millennial parents' analog childhoods to their own digital reality. Millennial parents, born roughly between 1981 and 1996, remember a world without today's constant technology. They grew up with landline phones attached to walls and watched movies on videotapes. They learned to drive before smartphones even existed. They then watched the whole world change and reconstitute itself around a small, glowing screen in their pocket. For Generation Alpha, this digital reality is all they have ever known. This difference runs very deep. Millennials adopted digital technology as they grew older.
For them, the internet was something new that arrived during their lives. Generation Alpha, however, was born into this digital world. For them, screens and the internet are just a normal part of life, like air or gravity. They are the first true digital natives, meaning they have known digital technology since they were babies. The first iPad was released in 2010, the same year the oldest alphas began their lives. The device and the child arrived together. Discover the hidden dangers and incredible potential that come with being a true digital native. This profound shift changes how they play, how they learn, how they form friendships, and even how their feelings work. It sets the stage for a dramatic transformation in human history. This book will look closely at what it means to grow up in this unique way. It will show how Generation Alpha is different and what these differences mean for our future world. We will learn how they might save our world or how they might be overwhelmed by it. 2. The world of screens. A human brain that has never known a world without the internet is a new thing. This is the daily reality for Generation Alpha. These children, born from 2010 to 2025, are the first true digital natives. For them, the internet has always been present. It is as ambient and normal as gravity or the weather. The very first iPad, a tablet computer, was released in 2010.
The oldest members of Generation Alpha were born in that same year. It is like the device and the child arrived in the world together. Many people call these children iPad kids. This name comes from how much of their early childhood is spent watching and using tablets and other smart devices. The name often carries both affection and a little worry about how much time they spend on screens. For these children, endless video streams and constantly updating apps are just a normal part of life. Their parents, known as Millennials, remember a very different childhood. Millennials, born between 1981 and 1996, have clear recollections of a world before the internet filled every moment. They recall landline phones, which were always connected to a kitchen wall.
They watched Saturday morning cartoons on broadcast television. They knew what it was like to rent VHS tapes or get lost without a GPS system to guide them. This older generation has a memory of a before and an after when it comes to technology. They know what it felt like to be bored without a screen, or to take a photo and wait days to see if it looked good. But Generation Alpha has no such before. For them, the internet is not something that changed their world. It simply is their world. They have grown up with remote classrooms, tablet computers, and ubiquitous streaming services.
The algorithms that suggest videos, games, or new friends are just a normal part of their daily life, shaping what they see and how they learn. The statistics about their screen time are quite large and sometimes worrying. Almost half of Generation Alpha children own their own tablets. Even more striking, by the time a child from this group is 7 years old, they will have spent an entire year watching different kinds of screen media. This includes computer games, internet videos, and DVDs. As we look at these numbers, a big question comes up. Are these screens simply helpful tools for a new generation, or are they silently changing the basic ways children grow, learn, and experience the world around them? It is a question that affects the very building blocks of their childhood. 3. Moms and dads. Millennial parents are raising Generation Alpha. These moms and dads are often called the most educated parents in history. They care a lot about their children's growth and happiness, but they are also very anxious. They worry about many things, like how much time their kids spend on screens, their mental health, and how well they learn. Many millennial mothers use social media every day. They share their joys and worries about parenting online. At the same time, they struggle with a big problem. They want to limit their children's screen time.
However, they also use digital tools a lot to manage their busy daily lives, such as using tablets to keep children occupied during chores or work. This creates a difficult balancing act. They try to use screens less, but rely on them more, feeling a constant push and pull. Millennial parents also try new ways to raise their kids. They make sure their children have early and constant education. This includes online learning resources and many organized after-school activities. They talk openly about many topics like diversity, mental wellness, and global challenges. This parenting style often means children's days are very busy and planned. From morning to night, children's schedules are often full. This way of parenting is very different from how millennials grew up. Millennials often had more time for unstructured play. They rode bikes until dark or played outside without adults watching all the time. This type of childhood, where children explored and imagined freely, is now almost unknown to Gen Alpha kids. Their lives are often hyper-scheduled with various lessons and planned fun. Psychologists say that unstructured play is very important for a child's development. It helps children become creative and strong. It teaches them how to solve problems and get along with others. When a child is given a stick and told to play, they learn to think for themselves. An iPad, no matter how good, cannot truly teach this kind of open-ended discovery.
It cannot give the child the feeling of possibility without rules or suggestions from a computer program. Through these parental choices, millennial moms and dads pass on many important values to their children. These include being open to new ideas, caring about the earth, and understanding mental health. But these choices also create hidden pressures.
Children learn that their lives should be productive and well-planned, leaving little room for boredom. This focus on constant activity and digital involvement may cause problems later. It could lead to an invisible emotional crisis as Gen Alpha grows up. The contrast between these two childhoods is fundamentally shaping the new generation. 4. Sad and worried. An invisible epidemic is happening in many classrooms and homes. Many children are feeling sad and worried more than ever before. This chapter will confront the difficult reality of this anxious generation. It seems like something serious is changing how young people feel inside. Experts and parents are asking, why are so many children feeling this way? Some people quickly blame social media and smartphones. They say that constant use of these devices is rewiring children's brains and making them more anxious and depressed. However, the truth is often more complex. Other factors like what happens at home or in their families also play a big role.
Still, the data clearly shows a troubling connection between always being online and children's mental well-being. Consider these facts. More than 36 million children, from babies up to 11 years old, were regular internet users in the year 2024. And for children aged 8 to 10, nearly 2/3 of them spend up to 4 hours every single day on social media. This continuous connectivity means that from a very young age, their minds are constantly taking in new online content, messages, and social interactions. For millennials, who are often the parents of these children, using technology like social media was different. It started as something new and was often done for a limited time after school. It was not always present. But for Generation Alpha, the digital and physical worlds are deeply mixed together. They do not really have a way to log off. Their friendships are made and kept alive on online games like Roblox or through comments on YouTube videos. Their personal identities are built very early on around what they watch, what they create, and how many likes or how much online approval they get. They learn to perform for cameras they hold in their own small hands. This means their sense of self is deeply tied to their digital life and how they are seen online. So, what happens when a child from Generation Alpha tries to step away from this always-on digital world? What if they want to stop logging in? For a generation whose entire self-image and social life are linked to their digital presence, the answer to this question might profoundly change how we understand human emotions in the future. It's a challenging thought for everyone. 5. A new way to learn. Imagine a school today without old books or blackboards. How do you teach children who can ask a smart speaker for an answer in seconds? For Generation Alpha, learning is different. Born into a digital world, their way of learning shows this. Today's classrooms changed. Schools quickly added digital curricula using computers and online tools. Children are comfortable with apps, videos, and websites, preferring active, personal learning. Teachers now mix online and in-person lessons, with students learning through short micro-learning modules. This is a big shift. Millennial parents learned by memorizing facts from books, but Generation Alpha grew up with Google, YouTube, and voice assistants. They find answers themselves via search or video. This is not laziness. It's a new cognitive way to learn in a world where facts are found fast. Computers use algorithms to guide learning, even using AI tools. Generation Alpha will be the most educated ever, knowing much about technology. But many teachers worry, if computers do so much, what skills do children need? If AI writes essays, what is learning to write? Educators ask big questions. Important skills for Generation Alpha are not just remembering facts.
They need to check information, think creatively, work with others, and be adaptable. Emotional intelligence is also key. These are skills screens might not naturally cultivate. Are we raising smart problem solvers, or a generation unable to think deeply for long periods? 6. Days at home. The year 2020 brought a traumatic time for everyone, especially for young children. For Generation Alpha, born in the 2000s and 10s, the COVID-19 pandemic was not just a short break. It was a long, slow disruption that shaped their early years. Schools closed their doors, and families stayed inside their homes for many months, sometimes even years. Children looked at the world through glass screens more often than they ever had before. Because of this unique experience, some scientists and researchers call this group Generation COVID. The pandemic truly accelerated many technology trends that were already starting to appear. Young children quickly became used to video calls for connecting with family and friends. They also learned their lessons in remote classrooms, sitting in front of a computer or tablet. This meant that much of their early interaction was by looking at faces on a screen, not real ones right in front of them. Researchers have found important developmental challenges that resulted from this period of intense isolation. Many young children showed more emotional problems, such as increased sadness, worry, and difficulty managing their feelings. They also had more trouble paying attention and sometimes acted aggressively towards others. Beyond emotions, their fine motor skills, like using small muscles in their hands, and their personal social skills, which help them interact with others, showed a noticeable decrease. Perhaps one of the most striking findings was a drop in social empathy. This is the very important ability to understand what other people might be thinking and feeling. Studies showed that children who were tested after the pandemic had more trouble with this than children tested before it. For example, they struggled more to understand that another person might have a different or incorrect belief about something. This skill is a basic building block for forming friendships and connecting deeply with others. For Millennials, the generation before, childhood was quite different. Their formative years for social development happened in a more traditional way. They learned about people by running around with friends, navigating playground rules, talking face-to-face, and reading body language and small facial expressions. They did not spend their most critical years for learning social cues, mainly behind glass screens. Generation Alpha, on the other hand, grew up watching faces on screens and hearing voices through speakers. The rich, complex world of human feelings and expressions sometimes became flatter and simpler through this digital medium. The long-term effects of this time, especially on how they will connect with others and truly understand human feelings, might stay with them for many decades to come, creating an invisible scar on their ability to form deep human bonds. 7. Money and the Earth. Generation Alpha has a strange situation with money. They are the most materially rich generation ever. However, They are also quite disconnected from the idea of physical money. This is a paradox. For their millennial parents, cash was real. It was something you could hold in your hand, count, and feel in your wallet. Money used to be very clear and solid. They often worried about having enough physical money. But for Generation Alpha, money is different. They first see money as numbers on a screen. They spend it using apps and online stores. For them, money stays abstract. It is just a number that goes up or down on a device. It is not real to touch, like many other things in their digital world. This changes how they understand wealth and buying things, making financial concepts less tangible. When it comes to the Earth, millennials often chose to be climate activism. They learned about climate change and joined groups to fight it. They talked about needing to act. People like Greta Thunberg helped many young people care deeply about the planet. Millennials saw saving the Earth as an important cause they could choose to support and work for. Generation Alpha sees global warming in a very different way. For them, it is not a choice or a political idea. It is a terrifying, unavoidable part of their daily life. They often experience extreme weather events. Their parents and teachers speak about a planetary crisis all the time. The videos and shows they watch are full of messages about the environment. Their concern about climate change is more visceral, meaning it feels very real and personal to them, not just something they think about. Climate change is a top issue for them. Many are already part of environmental clubs and projects in schools, monitoring energy usage or participating in cleanup drives. A huge amount of money will soon pass to millennials from their older relatives. This could make Generation Alpha very wealthy. The question is, will this wealth help them save the planet? Or will big inequality and deep worry about the climate stop them from acting? This is a big challenge for their future. 8. The new humans. Generation Alpha is quickly growing up. The oldest members are now teenagers, and the final ones are being born. This last chapter looks at the big, long-lasting effects of artificial intelligence, being alone during the pandemic, and living completely with digital things. These experiences have shaped them in very deep ways, making them truly different from any generation before.
Millennial parents grew up in a world with less technology. They remember playing outside without constant digital connections. They rode bikes until the streetlights came on and learned to deal with boredom. Now, these parents face a big challenge. They need to teach their alpha children important old-fashioned skills like patience, how to be creative when bored, and how to make deep human connections. This must happen before it is too late, as the digital world is very powerful. Alpha children have always known a world where AI is everywhere. Voice assistants like Siri or Alexa answer their questions easily, and AI helps them learn in school. This constant immersion in technology means they process information differently. They are very good at finding answers quickly. However, some experts worry they might struggle with deep thinking or solving problems without immediate digital help. The COVID-19 pandemic also deeply affected them. Many spent important developmental years isolated, leading to less social interaction. Studies showed delays in social and language skills for some children during this time. These new humans will soon be adults, joining colleges and the global workforce. By 2034, millennials, Gen Z, and the first alpha adults will make up 80% of workers. They will bring strong technology skills and a global awareness to their jobs, but they might also lack certain human qualities. These include deep focus in a world full of distractions and resilience when facing problems. Also, empathy, which comes from reading human faces and body language in person, could be harder for a generation that learned much through screens. It is crucial that these valuable skills are taught consciously and with purpose. Millennial parents, who remember a childhood with more analog experiences, are key. They can guide their children to enjoy simple moments, to explore without a screen, and to truly connect. The future of our global workforce and the very way our society works will soon be in the hands of Generation Alpha. Their world is also heavily shaped by algorithmic recommendations, which constantly guide what they see and do online. Generation Alpha is the most digitally fluent generation in history, but will they also become the most well-rounded and deeply human? This question is vital for all our futures. How do you think Generation Alpha will balance their amazing digital skills with the important need for real-world connections and deep thinking?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.